Hello and welcome. This is our weekly review program, and we are going to bring to you major events over the week and to give you some highlights. Quarterly performance report of Addis Ababa City Administration as presented by Mayor Addis Ababa, inauguration of Bona Village by Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed and its implication for tourism development in Ethiopia, and of course, at last we'll bring to you COP29 Climate Summit in Baku, Azerbaijan. And I'm Gamachisa Mandida, along with my colleague Asrat Adisu, will bring the program to you together. Stay with us. Hello, Asrat.
Hello, Gamachisa.
How was the week?
It was so nice, and I'm very happy to join you as usual.
Yes. Let's begin with a performance report of Addis Ababa City Administration, which was presented by Mayor Addis Ababa.
Our leadership quality has been upgrading throughout time. We have been producing future leaders who get synchronized both in outlook and duty aspects, as well as goal-oriented and persistently task-oriented. The leadership must be evaluated mainly as per the mission delegation. We must consider the extent of performance with regard to the vested responsibility, and if any failure to meet, there should be a why question-based assessment. Mostly, the first quarter is dedicated to the initial preparation episode of the annual plan, orienting our plans, making a common understanding of the plan, capacitating the leadership, enabling the subordinates to own the plan, ensuring the readiness of our institutions to meet the expectations of annual plan of the fiscal year, and other major tasks were carried out so far.
ማንም ተቋም ሪፖርት ሲያደርግ መጀመሪያ ሪፖርት ማድረግ ያለበት የተቋም ግንባታ ላይ ያስቀመጥናቸውን ግቦች ምን ያህል አሳካው የሚል
During performance reports, any institution of the city administration must prioritize the extent of institution building parameters of the city administration before any other. Institution building requires founding a resilient system in the aspects of manpower, the logistics and technological aspects of work culture.
The mayor has presented the 3 months performance report of the city administration of Addis Ababa. That includes all the bureaus and the institutions included and responsible for the city administration. So what was done was, during the evaluation of the performance report as to the mayor, the stronger and weaker aspects of the performance within the 3 months were evaluated. And the evaluation was not only simply evaluating the stronger and weaker aspects, but what were the causes, the motive causes behind the 2 aspects. This was, a wider spectrum that addresses even the reasons behind, which was a rational approach, I think. And with this, as to the information that I have on my hand, the city administration has disclosed of the fact that 86% and above has been achieved during the 3 months performance of the city administration. Out of the fiscal year's operational plan, the 3 months, the city administration has been able to finalize 86% of its duties that are expected from the city administration. So along this process, as I said, all the reasons were, meticulously reviewed. And, this by the way, this information was, presented not only on the stage, on a discussion platform, but the mayor, regarding this transparency, the mayor just brought all the information on her social media post. We used the social media post as well as the platform discussion. And according to the mayor, the 86% performance achievement was, cost effective and the quality assured and the timely aspect. These 3 points brought this 86% achievement.
Yeah. These criteria are important criteria because previously, or so far, we could say projects, in Addis Ababa and elsewhere in the country have not been as much cost effective as expected. And as a result, a lot of money has been invested on something that wouldn't bring back, what is expected from it. Quality in various projects that the city administration has been implementing in, compromise. And it has been, a big problem. And of course, many of such projects wouldn't come to an end in the time they've been, set to end. And this has been, one huge challenge the city administration has been facing in early years. But recently, the city administration has managed, to control, these situations. We can say that, these were criteria that evaluated, the projects or the works that have taken place in the last 3 months. The other thing is, following the corridor development project in Addis Ababa, the city has managed to host 20 various continental and international conferences. Yeah. And this is, the result of the corridor development project. If it was not for the corridor development project, this wouldn't happen, and it has huge implications for the tourism endeavor in the country. I could say this proves that these kinds of measures by the city administration would allow Addis Ababa to become an international center. In other words, it becomes, a very excellent, tourism hub.
If we start, to pay attention to whatever the mayors said, within the 3 months in the quarter, the quality of, the leadership has been, upgraded. The most important issue that she underlined was, the quality of the leadership has upgraded, and that upgrading aspect of the leadership was ascertained because the leadership was goal-oriented and persistently task-oriented. That was kind of permanent. Day in, day out, the leadership is all at work. So that is being goal-oriented and task-oriented as well.
Of course, key performance indicators, KPIs, have been implemented to check or to evaluate, to what extent the projects or the works in the city have been successful. And these introductions of KPIs or key performance indicators, have played a big role.
Yeah,
and you're right. This has allowed, some kind of sustainability in the leadership.
Yes, and the leadership as well. Yeah, what she said was, the future, the upcoming leaders must deduct, must emulate lessons from the present day leadership. And the present day leadership is, as I said earlier, goal-oriented and persistently task-oriented. That has been observed in the last 3 months. And because, everything was based on the question why. There was nothing simply remained in a cover. Mm-hmm. Everything was asked. Why?
It has been critically analyzed.
Critically analyzed, and persistently, examined. Nothing was left in a bare. Yes. So the other point is, as you said, the city is nowadays becoming a tourism hub. Mm-hmm. It's a center for international issues. That is a major aspect that has come along this corridor development process. That's it, I think.
Yeah, the other thing that the mayor assured was the fact that, there will be more transparency and public participation in whatever project or work the city administration engages in. And of course, in the last months, especially ever since the commencement of corridor development project, city residents have been engaged, and as a result, something like relocation of residents has been done very easily in a way that is manageable as a result of discussions between the leadership of the city administration and the residents as well. And of course, the mayor has assured that this kind of engagement with the public will continue, and that in the next time or in the times ahead of us, more participation of the city residents will be ensured. And the other thing that has relevance to this participation or transparency is, of course, corruption. Corruption is a severe challenge, problem in our society. We cannot deny it.
Yeah.
And the mayor assured that the city residents will be made engaged with the leadership of the city administration to tackle these kinds of malpractices, such as corruption.
Yeah, you're
Yes,
right.
yes.
So the other aspect that the mayor has underscored was, when reporting, institutions that are responsible for the city administration must focus, on the institution building parameters. That should come first. In any report, this should be included as a primary area of focus. Nobody can, leave it out and bring other issues ahead. No. The primary point that should be focused as to here was, these parameters of institutional building should be focused. That was what she, underscored for the future reportings.
Exactly. Asra, shall we go to the next topic, which is Bona Village? It's a modern oasis on Lake Basaka.
Great.
An interesting,
aspect.
really modern oasis, or it's a wonderful village that was inaugurated by Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, and of course its implication or significance for tourism development in the country has been emphasized by the Prime Minister. You remember that ambassadors, foreign diplomats, attaches, have visited, this place, and they have been, highly surprised by what they have seen there, and especially, it is a village where you can find, everything that sustains, life there. For instance, there are activities like agricultural practices there that would feed, just the village. And officials in the country and beyond have participated in this inauguration ceremony. And Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed insisted that this is, a sign of the country's resilience for development.
That's right.
And he said, many things regarding its peculiar role in developing the country's tourism industry.
Bona Village is an arena that we witnessed the pragmatism of our determination in yes we can spirit and grasped in our own hands. It's an emblem for the dedicated citizens seeking to lay foundation for the prosperity and change of the nation, that no challenge can hinder their dreams. The village gives a huge lesson for everyone who can adopt the power of dreams into tangible outputs and is able to consolidate the potentials for the benefit of the nation, and can also change such a forsaken area to a paradise on earth. Bona is a testament for the spirit of yes we can as a feasible motto, not only of a lip service. The arid land turned paradise due to the extensive financial skills-based and labor collaboration between the government of Ethiopia and the private sector, as well as the relentless support from the United Arab Emirates. No doubt could reveal on the fact that the hands that turned this land into paradise can change the face of the whole nation.
What do you say on this?
Just to begin with, what astonished me was, the government did it silently. There were no signs that it was going on. There was no information. Most of the people, including me, were astonished when we heard of this information, that this amazing village on the shores of Lake Basaka was officially inaugurated. And, the village comprises so many facilities like cinema hall, entertainment venues, a spa, and fruit farmers, and livestock production, as you said earlier. So agriculture is there, other aspects are there, you know, and so many things. The video footage released last time, I saw many these agricultural aspects like eggs, everything. Everything is there. So you know, as you said, you can have oranges, lemons, papayas, mangoes, and chickens, camels, cattle, so on and so forth.
Yes. Yeah.
It's a spring. It's a spring water.
Yeah.
And you see, it's kind of, you know, salty, saline, and it has got not so much life inside it, except this bird viewing aspects. Upcoming, the village building, the village construction is so much astonishing. It's just a modern oasis, as you said, and even the guests who visited on that very day and afterwards have been very much astonished having such an interesting international standard village on the shores of Lake Basaka.
Yes, yes. Okay, I think it's time to go to the next topic, which is the climate summit in Baku, Azerbaijan, COP29. Of course, you know, this climate summit has taken place, you know, in different countries with different names, and still, you know, there are challenges to this summit because the world in general is highly affected by climate change that is taking place, and of course, you know, especially the rich nations play, you know, peculiar roles, significant roles in making things, you know, worse for the climate of the globe, and unfortunately, developing nations like Ethiopia or countries, you know, in the sub-Saharan Africa and elsewhere, other than, you know, these developed nations are more affected by climate change that, of course, you know, attributes to the action of the industrialized nations.
When it comes to the climate change, the developing nations, and particularly that of these small islands scattered across the planet, are not responsible for it. You know, countries, much of the countries are the Western countries and some Oriental countries like China and Indonesia emit most of the carbon into the atmosphere, and that affects the atmosphere. And the very moment that the atmosphere gets affected, we start to lose the existing ecosystem, you know, the ecology, the relation between human beings and the environment gets affected. And whenever the environment gets affected, life gets difficult. So even not for the coming generation, but for the generation existing nowadays, it becomes very difficult to exist as human beings on the planet. So actions should be taken is the major question by participants, and what President Haile Selassie has brought to the table was action.
Yes, action. He said, of course, we need to translate commitments that have been made earlier into action, and so that the effect of climate change can be resisted by especially developing nations like Ethiopia. Otherwise, if things go like this, devastation is, you know, something inevitable. And not only President Haile Selassie, but other world leaders have also expressed their concern regarding the impact of climate change, especially the one that has been aggravated by the activities of the industrialized nations, the rich nations. And unfortunately, in this summit in COP29, where more than 200 countries have participated, the most important ones or contributors of carbon gas emission through their industries, presidents or leaders of nations like the US, China, Indonesia, and India haven't taken, you know, any part.
Yeah.
They avoided, they declined, attending the summit. And of course, leaders have been showing their concern, because these nations are expected to come in and then, do what is expected from them, which is to show their political will and, of course, to finance efforts that attempt, to alleviate, climate change or the impact of, climate change.
Yeah.
So shall we watch what President Taye Askeselasi has to say on this?
Yeah, great.
Yes.
We aspire and hope to translate our Paris Agreement commitments into tangible actions. We must collectively reverse humanity's trajectory of destruction and do justice to the victims of climate change, particularly vulnerable nations in Africa and small island states. Cognizant of the fact that urban green space have declined, Ethiopia, through its corridor development program, prioritizes people-centered and climate-smart approach to reverse this alarming trend. While we demand increased financial support, we express deep concern over the inadequate, complex, and delayed disbursement of existing funds.
Viewers, we're back to you. Yeah.
Yeah. So when we are, observing the current situation of the planet, whatever the president of Ethiopia, His Excellency Taye Askeselasi, brought to the table in that COP29, which is still an active session going on, to be concluded, I think, on the 22nd of November 2024. Every point that he brought to the table is, right, I can say. And we can say as well. Ethiopia is committed, as to him, Ethiopia is committed to the Paris Agreement and is still prepared for the proactive disaster issues. Ethiopia is taking actions, not only theoretical aspects, but pragmatism is in Ethiopia. Ethiopia is pragmatic enough to take the action aspects of the Paris agreement, and due to that, the resilience against climate impacts of Ethiopia is, witnessed by Ethiopia herself and other bodies, stakeholders, partners that has been, witnessing actions within Ethiopia for the last 6 years.
Well, of course, Asrat, I would like to mention the fact that Ethiopia's Green Legacy Initiative that commenced in 2019 and have gone through different stages has contributed a lot for alleviating climate change or for fighting against climate change. And there has been a 6% increase to the one just that had been years back. And this is something that Ethiopia is proud of, showing that Ethiopia is actually committed, evidently committed to fight climate change. And what participants of this COP29 are insisting is that the countries that are responsible for the majority of
the carbon emission.
The carbon emission that affects everyone in the globe should take part. They should show political will, and of course they should give a hand through finance. $100 billion has been demanded by the participants in order to fight this climate change.
That's an annual demand, by the way.
That's annual demand.
And
yes, exactly.
as you said earlier, these powerful nations are, refraining from action when it comes to the real deal,
yes,
to the financial aspect. They don't dare. They don't dare to bring the money to the table. And, Ethiopia and countries like Ethiopia, or the whole lot of developing nations in Africa, Latin America, and Far East, are still suffering. And the most importantly, these small island countries are suffering.
Yes.
So there should be a continuation of a perpetuation of generations, and for generations to continue on the planet, an immediate action must be taken.
Yeah.
As you know, the call which was made by President Taye Selassie of Ethiopia.
Of course, one thing that's important here is this clean energy revolution that was emphasized, during this summit. We remember in 2016, the world had, 180 gigawatts of clean energy and 700,000 electric vehicles.
Yeah.
Now this has increased a lot, and we have now 600 gigawatts of clean energy and as many as 14 million electric vehicles. And these kinds of efforts need to be, further enhanced in order to be able to tackle, this climate change. And these kinds of options have been, emphasized by participants of the COP29 summit.
Yeah.
Aswad, I think, again, time limits us here, so
Yes.
we need to stop.
Wrap it up here.
Wrap it up here. Exactly.
Yeah,
Thank
great.
you, Aswad.
Yeah.
Viewers, you've been watching our program that brought a variety of issues to the table, and we would like to say to you, thank you very much for watching. Next time we'll come up with other issues, and until then, goodbye.